City begin their UEFA Champions League campaign. Gundogan takes it and scores it! Wonderful play by Ferran Torres. The Blues are in Marseille. Sterling makes it 3. For the third game in a row, City have scored 3 times. Foden! Manchester City qualify for the knockout stages.
It's match day in the Champions League and Manchester City have travelled to Porto for their 5th Champions League group stage match. City are aiming to start the busy festive season on a strong note, and with 4 wins on the bounce in the group stages, we've all but secured a place in the last 16. City have been in scintillating form so far in the Champions League, scoring 10 goals and only conceding 1. However, our opponents are also in a very rich vein of form, having bagged wins in their last 5 matches. And they also just need a point to make it to the last 16, so all to play for tonight. Pep has travelled with a strong squad. It's only Sergio Aguero who doesn't make the team after feeling some discomfort in his knee. So that does mean academy graduate Tommy Doyle has once again travelled with the side. And 6 changes from the game at the weekend sees Foden and Sterling being brought into the starting 11. Very good evening and welcome to We're Not Really Here. Thank you so much for joining us for our game against Porto this evening. My name is Kel Spellman and we have got a great show lined up. Joining me with 800 games between them, we have got Richard Dunne, Shaun Wright-Phillips and Kevin Horlock is back. Gentlemen, a very good evening. Kevin, great to have you back. I see making room for Dickie now. We can maybe say goodbye.
I'll let him out a little bit now. Yeah, good to be back. Thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure. Shaun, great to see you again. Richard, as always. We're going to deliver the team in just a second, but we've just seen it here in the studio. What is your first impression of that team? A few changes, Kev?
Yeah, I think everybody expect there to be changes. Obviously, Phil comes in. I thought he come on and affected the game on Saturday. And obviously a start for Raheem as well, which I'm looking forward to see. I think there's going to be a couple of goals tonight from...
Oh, okay. From the King Predictor as well. All right, that bodes well. We'll see where we get to with our predictions later on in the show. But let's see what team Pep has chosen for our game against Porto tonight. So in net we have Ederson. We have a back 4 made up of Cancelo, Zinchenko, Diaz, and Eric Garcia joins him at centre back. In the middle, Rodri and Fernandinho. Also with Bernardo, I think, but I'll ask Shaun in just a second. And a front 3 of Phil Foden, Raheem Sterling and Ferran Torres. On the bench, Zach Stefan, Kyle Walker, John Stones, Nathan Ake, Ilkay Gundogan, Gabriel Jesus, hat-trick hero Riyad Mahrez, Kevin De Bruyne and Aymeric Laporte complete the bench. That is the squad chosen by Pep Guardiola. Shaun, I'm going to come straight to you on that just to check. I've got Bernardo there in the middle, joining Rodri and Fernandinho. Won't be Foden. You think Foden's going to be in the front 3 with Torres and Sterling?
For me, yeah, I think especially away from home, I think he's more effective out wide. He comes in, great link-up play, and he creates a lot of chances out there. As we saw against Burnley, he came on and he created a chance straight away. So I think to have him out wide would be good for him, especially his confidence as well.
Mentioned there, Diaz keeps his place at centre-back. John Stones makes way for Eric Garcia tonight, Richard. We've seen him kind of get used in these European nights. How do you think he's going to fare against what is a very strong Porto team with Diaz?
I think it's just important for everyone to get games. We've seen Laporte play, Stones play, and Garcia comes in tonight for an opportunity. He's obviously a top-quality centre-back, so it won't faze him at all playing tonight, and I'm sure once... The team has defended reasonably well over the last period, so I think Diaz is the organiser, and once he's there, whoever's with him seems to be able to get along fairly well.
Off that, because we've also got Cancelo and Zinchenko making a start. I think that's his first start at fullback this season. So you kind of always need that rock in Diaz, and then really we can chop and change around that and feel comfortable that we're going to be solid, you think?
I think so, yeah. I think every team needs a bit of stability, and I think since Laporte's come, he's been really good, but he's had injuries at certain times, and you're hoping that Diaz is that leader now, who's the one who you can always sort of rely on, and almost in that, I suppose, Vincent Kompany style in terms of being able to organise the players around them. And he's said himself he's not someone who's going to dribble the ball and be spectacular, but he's very effective in what he does, and it'll give the other players confidence knowing that they can play the ball, and he's the one that's going to be there to back them up.
I was going to ask, actually, Kevin, because obviously when we had Ederson and suddenly the keeper sorted, the pressure kind of comes off the defence a little bit. I guess then, with the defence now feeling a bit more solid, the midfield can kind of maybe worry more about attacking and getting those goals we've missed, knowing that if they do break, our defence has been solid.
Yeah, it's important to trust who's around you and who's behind you, and that's the way it's going. I think we spoke about on Saturday the amount of chances that we've created and goals that we've got for that, which hasn't been too high. So I called it obviously on Saturday goals, and I think there's going to be more today. Obviously the players that have come in have got bags of ability. Raheem coming back in, and Phil, I just feel that we're going to win tonight.
That's what we like to hear. Shaun, Fernandinho back in the team, so great to see him. Do you think we've missed his kind of intelligence and maybe maturity that he's got, of course, knowing that role so well and how fundamental he's been to Pep's playing style? Or do you think Rodri's filled the gap fairly well between him and Gundogan, actually?
Between him and Gundogan, him and Rodri, I think they fill the gap pretty well, but I think Ferda has something that they don't have. Like, he knows how to give these clever fouls away. He knows when to do it, when not to do it. And he doesn't go forward as much as, say, your Rodri. Your Rodri's, I find, more of a ball player, which obviously suits the way we play. But sometimes, as you've seen in this season, we've had our backs against the wall and trying to grind out results. And I think he's that person that we've missed at them times.
We've also seemed to be kind of settling, I say we. Pep seems to have settled a bit more, Kev, on those two holding midfielders. I think for the first 3 seasons, we were very much just used to seeing that one anchor midfielder. What does that do to the team as a whole, do you think? And why do you think we've kind of started to settle into using Gundogan and Rodri both at the same time? Or tonight, of course, it's Rodri and Fernandinho.
I think it just gives you that platform for the more offensive players to go and take more risk and be more open and more free. It just gives you that little bit of security, and we'll see if it works tonight.
Ferran Torres, of course, keeps getting goals, Richard. Back on the wing tonight, but do you think we're still yet to see him kind of reach his best of his ability, of course, given his age?
Yeah, I think there's been a bit of pressure put on him, really, because of the lack of goals, and he's been the one that's come in and got them at important times. And his development won't be judged, I suppose, on goals, but more on his assists and how his overall style and play suits the team, and he'll still have time to learn that, but he's started off brilliantly, and I think the more he plays, the more confidence he'll get, the more he'll understand the whole system, and he'll be a great player.
It was interesting in listening to the GOAT speak about him. He said he'd seen him in the first few games and wasn't sure what he brought to the team, but since watching him obviously more, and he's come settled and come out of his shell a little bit, GOATs couldn't talk high enough of him. He said he finishes like a striker. So.
I mean, Shaun, for you, of course, we're seeing him on the wing. We've seen him in that central role. But what have you been most impressed about with Torres so far?
For me, just like Kev said, it like in and around the box, the way he, like, I'm a winger, and when I would get in that position, I never took my time. I knew what areas to hit, and those are the areas I went for. Whereas he seems a lot more cleverer and calmer with it. He'll take that extra touch when I would think, well, don't take that touch, the space is going to go, and he still finds a way to slot it in.
It's interesting. We had Stephen McInerney on, I think it was with you, Richard, and he made a great, he said that he spoke to a La Liga expert, and they described Torres, basically said, you've signed Valencia's Phil Foden. And I think, going that he has had such a strong start, it does excite you to go 20 years old. We're probably still nowhere near seeing his full potential, Shaun. I mean, what is, do you reckon, the growth of a player like that? How many seasons do you think he needs to settle into kind of getting up to where he can really play at his absolute best and finest?
It's hard, isn't it? Because if you look at Phil Foden, what do you know what I mean?
So true.
Where's his potential and where does he stop? Do you know what I mean? At the minute, we're looking at him, and he keeps playing like that. And if he does it every game, you can only see him getting better and better. So for me, like I said, he plays at the minute more like a striker. I'm waiting to see that wing play where he's taking people on and creating more chances for others as well as scoring goals. And I think, like Dunne and Kev said, that will come. He's still young. He's just come here, and to come and play in a team like City and the way they play and they press and the tactical side, it's not something that you just pick up overnight.
We're going to get to the Burnley game in a little bit. Of course, 5 goals very much needed. But Kevin, I know you touched upon it at the weekend, but I was interested to know, because I always love, sometimes as fans you have worries or concerns, but then when you speak to people who know the game, played the game, they see it a little bit differently. There has been a big conversation around goals recently, Richard. But as you say, we've actually had quite a few chances in games. Do you think there isn't too much to worry about yet if you take out the Burnley game, up until that point, were you overly concerned, or did you feel it was a matter of time before they'd start coming?
I just felt it was a matter of time. The biggest concern would be if you weren't creating opportunities. We watched the European game last week, and they destroyed them in 20-odd chances, but only scored the 1 goal. So the opportunities have always been there. And I think reading an article over the weekend about them, and they're taking too many touches almost. And now they've sort of simplified it, and the goals we've seen on Saturday were 1-touch assists, 1-touch finishes, quite a lot. And I think that's where Kev was saying about having the two holding midfielders gives them the platform. It also slows the play down a little bit, and I think the players need to receive the ball a little bit earlier, maybe get their shots away quicker than what they have been doing. But I think Saturday was the start of hopefully what is a run where the goals will flow.
It really was, and Shaun, that kind of did feel very reminiscent of kind of City over the last 2 seasons. You know, in their absolute richest vein of form. Would you say that Burnley game?
Yeah, I would say that, but they could win 1-0 all season for me. I'll be happy with that. We'll win the title, do you know what I mean? Like, if they're keeping clean sheets and defending well, then it doesn't matter if we're winning the games. But I think us as a group have got so used to seeing them score 3-0 here, 5-0 here. We just expect it every game, whereas sometimes you have to win ugly.
Yeah, I think we've been spoiled, haven't we, over the last couple of years, just a touch. And you've got to remember as well, teams coming here or coming up against Manchester City know how good they've been over the last couple of years, and does it give them that extra yard, give them that extra impetus to put their bodies on the line? I think it probably does.
I think it does as well. And actually, I think there was a game earlier on in the Champions League, or it was in the league, actually. We ground out a 1-0 win, and similar to you, Shaun, actually, it was nice to see a Pep team grind out that 1-0 win. And I guess then for the squad as a whole, Kevin, it's nice to know that you can find a win in a variety of different ways, not just one whole way.
Yeah, it's important. I think Wright is on about the 1-0 win. He's going back to his Arsenal roots. It's in his blood. He's in his blood, and he wants a 1-0 win. But yeah, look, you're not going to blow teams away every week. So to win ugly when you've had to work hard for it and nick a typical Shaun goal off your shin or something to do. I'm with Wrighty on it.
Well, of course, let's look back to when Porto were here at the Etihad. Of course, it was a 3-1 win for Manchester City. It wasn't all smooth sailing, though. Of course, you might remember that it was Luiz there who scored for Porto in the 14th minute, running across the box. It was an interception from that pass there. Defensively, Richard, it felt like we should have been doing a bit more on the edge of the box to stop the shot from coming in there.
Yeah, I think that was one of the goals when we spoke about how much Fernandinho was missed, because it was a situation which probably could have been stopped a lot quicker. It doesn't always have to be the perfect tackle. Sometimes it can just be a disruption, a little pull of a jersey, or just to knock the guy off his stride. But he seemed to have the freedom to run across the width of the box and got a shot away.
We then managed, of course, then to, I think, impose our game, and we started to grow into it and ended up kind of winning. Of course, we had that, first of all, penalty for Sergio Aguero, which was the equaliser. We can have a little look at that now. Definite penalty for you, Shaun?
Yeah, for me. For me, yeah, it's a definite penalty. It was great to see, obviously, to have Serge back and for him to take the penalty. He just used power, really, didn't he? Like my dad always said, if you ever take a penalty, which I didn't take many of, as long as you get good power on it in a centre corner, the chances are it's harder to save for the keeper.
We should have passed that on to me. I missed loads. Why didn't you pass that on to me?
Because you were the person meant to be teaching me.
Did you ever have sets? Did you ever have a place you'd always go, or was it more kind of whatever you're feeling in the moment for penalties?
Do you know what? The ones I missed, I changed my mind loads of times. I remember, and I spoke about it Saturday briefly, I missed one at Turf Moor for Burnley, against Burnley, sorry, and I changed my mind walking up. I was going left, I was going right, I was going power, I was going to place it, and in the end I did all of it. it obviously didn't go in.
No, but did you have like a set penalty that you would you'd go to and be like, okay, if this pressurised situation, I know what I'm going for, or was it really just a reactive in the moment?
It was in the moment,
really.
And the one obviously that most important one for me was probably at Wembley, and if you analyse it, it wasn't the best. If the keeper goes the right way, he saves it, but obviously I pretend that I watched the keeper move first.
Yeah. It was interesting. I've been watching one of the All or Nothings, of course, that we did on City, but it was on the Brazil team, and there's a focus on Jesus taking penalties, of course, took him in the Copa America, and the coach was saying where they introduced the you're not allowed to stop, it really threw Jesus' penalty, because that he was all about watching the keeper try and commit before he took his shot. I don't know if you ever tried that, but I never know how you could try and judge someone before you even kick the ball.
I've not got that in the locker. Right, you might be able to answer.
Sean,
I've not got that in the
have you
locker.
got that in the locker?
I wouldn't say I'm good at it, but I just know the ball's not moving.
Okay.
So as long as I know the ball's still there, then I can keep my eye on the keeper.
Okay.
And I think Bruno, don't want to talk about Man United player, but
Is it?
Bruno does it. You can see, and that hop that he does gives him more time to see where the keeper's going to go.
I was going to say, I mean, we kind of don't need to ask. Richard, you had that in the locker. all
Absolutely
day.
not.
After the penalty, then it was kind of smooth sailing for City. It first of all took this Gundogan free kick. Beautiful finish, but I think when we watched it, Richard was saying keeper probably would be a little bit disappointed there. I think for Porto.
Yeah, he was studying him. I think either too far to one side, and the ball ends up going in the middle of the goal. And I think if it was against you, you'd be disappointed. But the technique and the spin he gets on the ball is great. But I think from a goalie's point of view, you'd be disappointed.
And then it was a final goal from that man we were just speaking about before. Seems to can't help himself from scoring. Ferran Torres gave us our third and final goal against Porto here at the Etihad last time out. Hopefully we'll be seeing more of this tonight. Kevin, do you think Foden and Torres linking up?
Yeah, I think obviously Raheem as well. It's a dangerous front line. There's goals in them. Obviously there's pace. There's link-up play. So I'm really looking forward to it. I always questioned, with Sane going, do we think we'll have someone who'll be able to strike and finish the ball as he does? But with a finish like that, it feels like Torres does have that in the locker, and also quick acceleration speed as well, Sean. Maybe not on the sprint, but from standing, he's very, very quick.
I don't think you're going to get much players as quick as Sane off the mark, to be honest. But it's a hard comparison. I think him and Sane play completely different in a lot of ways. I think Sane was more of that player that that if it was 0-0, he can make something happen out of nothing, where I think Ferran will play his 1-2s and get into nice spaces and put the balls in the back of the net.
Let's take a look then at the team that we are facing tonight in the form of Porto. Now, I will say as well, forgive me slightly for some of these pronunciations, but I will do my best. We have Agustin Marquesin in net, Wilson Manafort at the back with Malanga Sarr, Diego Lite, Chancellor Mbemba, Zaidu Sanusi, Sergio Oliveira and Matheus Uribe in the middle. And up front is the three of Otavio, Marega and Corona. Unfortunately not number 19, he's squad number 17. Little joke there. We've got to laugh.
Hey, that's decent pronunciation, by the way. I would have been struggling.
Me and Dunny were thinking about Corona Lager, so I don't know what you're on about.
But this is a slightly different Porto team that we're coming up against, because now I think they've won all their Champions League games since that defeat here at the Etihad. A point for them secures qualification into the last 16. So, Kevin, for you, it's going to be a different game, do you think, to what we saw here at the Etihad earlier on?
It is difficult, isn't it, when you know a win, obviously, for City gives them top spots. Pep being a winner, he's going to want to win the game. But I think deep down, I think Pep would take a draw and go into the last fixture.
They actually, I don't think have conceded a goal either, Porto, since that game as well. So I guess that's going to give us more work to do moving forward. With someone like Pepe there, I guess he's going to be working to make sure that clean sheet stays a clean sheet for Porto and hopefully get that point, I guess.
Yeah, I think they've stabilised that team since the first game at the Etihad. I think they've improved in the league. They've won the majority of their games, and there's obviously a little bit of needle between the managers as well in the game. So hopefully that spills out onto the pitch, and it's a bit of a battle on the pitch. And I think when it comes down to technique and ability and tactics, City would be clear favourites. And I think for Porto, they need to make it a dirty game almost, and need to slow the game down and. Yeah, they'll be able to try and get one over them. If
that is the approach from Porto, then what do you think City's best ways are combating that? Do you think, Richard? Will it be that pace you spoke about before that we'll get from the middle of midfield in Fernandinho and Rodri?
Yeah, they got faced with it last week. There was some nasty tackles going in on Sterling at certain times. They were trying to wind him up, trying to even the score almost by bringing City down a player. I think for Man City, they need to move the ball quickly, and I think that would frustrate Porto even more, and use the width of the pitch, which they can do brilliantly. And they've got individual players who can win their one-on-one situations, and I think the more they move the ball and keep it away from Porto, the more frustrated they'll become.
Shaun, with when you come up against, I think particularly it's tougher at these European away games, of course, and we had Taylor Harwood-Bellis on and spoke how different it is for a young person to experience that. Best way for a team like to keep its head, you know, when they do like Olympiacos did against us. I'm a hot-headed on a football pitch. Do you as a team kind of just go, we have to let the ball keep doing the talking and not get too emotionally invested?
Yeah, exactly that. I think if you do step over that line, we can be a man down, and you don't really want that player, your teammate, sent off. So you have to keep your head. You have to enjoy the game, and like Dunne said, you have to get that player that likes his one-on-ones and takes that person on, because then another player has to move across and he steps out, and it creates space for other people.
In many ways, I think it's quite nice for this City team to go and play away. I see it on Saturday at Burnley. I think teams tend to sit in, and it can be really difficult to break down and frustrating. So tonight, will Porto come out and will they be quite energetic and open? I just think City are the most dangerous on the transition and turnover.
Yeah, so hopefully if it is maybe more Porto pushing us slightly more than they did, that's going to play into our hands, particularly with them three. Well, let's hear what our manager Pep Guardiola had to say. This is him giving his thoughts pitch side ahead of tonight's game against Porto.
How much do you feel you're relying on Rodri, who plays yet again? He's played in every City game this season.
Yeah, a lot. It's a player that specific qualities, like we don't have many. And incredible character, personality to play. And last game played 45 minutes, so it's more fresh than the other one, so that's why he played from the beginning.
Were you tempted at all to give Ederson a rest and to let Stefan play in goal?
No, because still we are playing to finish first. So we want to finish first, we play for the prestigious, for another reason. So of course we trust in Zach with the squad, but Eddie is our first goalkeeper.
And another milestone that's possible tonight is for one of your strikers, Ferran Torres. He can become only the third City player to score 4 in a row. How good would that be for him in the Champions League?
Well, good boost, yeah, will be good. But yeah, he has to do his job, and he can score, will be good. If don't, nothing happen. Do everyone his job and good mentality in a difficult and aggressive game, but we're ready to compete.
Here, Pep Guardiola there speaking ahead of our game against Porto. One player who's mentioned there at the start and asked about was Rodri. Kevin, perfect person to ask. What do you make of Rodri and how he's kind of grown over these first couple of seasons playing for Manchester City?
Yeah, he come in obviously with big expectations. Maybe hasn't hit the height straight away, but obviously growing as a player, learning the style of play in England and what Pep wants of him. Obviously, Pep trusts him. He plays him and plays him regular, so he can only grow and get better, obviously, with the players he's got around him as well.
Do you think as well, and Shaun, maybe I'll throw this to you, because I look at Fernandinho, remember how agile and quick he would be to kind of read play a little bit, and I feel Rodri is maybe a touch slow in that regard, but then can really good reading of the game allow you not to maybe need the pace if you need to quickly jump in like Fernandinho would?
100%. I don't think you necessarily in that position need to be quick like Claude Makelele. Wasn't the quickest man, but he's reading and understanding of the game. He sensed danger before it happened. And I think if Rodri can pick up that, because I think Further does that well.
Yeah.
Like as soon as he thinks something's going to happen, it's either a foul or he's in the right position to stop it. And I think that will come, like Kev said, he's still learning the game. So the more he learns, he'll just pick those things up.
Does that come through game time, the reading the game, or can it also be something that is coached? Shaun?
I think you can be coached, but I think I wouldn't say it's systematic, but the more times those situations happen, the more times you realise they're kind of there. Like he knows whether, as a guy playing in that position, he will get shouts from his defenders. It should come to the point where he knows that somebody's going to pop in that space behind him, sort of thing.
Yeah, it's something you do get better at with games, obviously. And people talk about Pep and how his teams play with flair and going forward. I guarantee you, he gets told where to be. Pep will work defensively when out of possession, where he wants his midfielders to be, his fullbacks to be. So he will be drilled as well. So it'll be something that he will get better at. through games, but something that he will learn in training as well.
Especially
100%.
from the brilliant mind of Pep Guardiola. There was a great interview he gave with the club this week that I just wanted to pick up on and spoke about having to rest players, but also that players shouldn't be thinking that if they're not in the team, it's because I am resting them. The best players are going to play. I always think, Richard, that can feel like it can go one way and really, kick them on, or sometimes take it the wrong way. But it felt actually kind of like Pep was almost challenging his squad now that we're getting into this busy period. Do you think it can have that positive effect and not the negative one I'm worrying about?
Yeah, I think it keeps competition for places. I think if you're secure in your place and you think, oh, well, it's fine because the manager likes me, he's just giving me a rest this week, you can easily just rest and just take a bit of time off. But he wants people working hard, and you might have a rest or a game off or whatever, but you need to be 100% when you come back in. And as soon as you've seen it loads of times, you switch off, whether it be during the week before a game or for a period of time, it's very difficult to switch it back on. And there's no time now in the way the season is set up this year to switch your mind off.
I know a lot of people, one of those players might be thinking about is Phil Foden. Of course, unfortunate as well, Laporte is on the bench again tonight. But for Foden, I think that people don't recognise enough. He has actually started in our last 3 Champions League games, which is just as good as starting in the Premier League, Shaun. And do you think sometimes we're giving too much of a hard time that Foden isn't getting the starts that he deserves? Or would you like to see him have a better run of games?
I think everybody would, you know what I mean? But like everyone's saying, it's been no pre-season. Like they've had a short breaking, and the games are coming thick and fast. Now he's playing in the Champions League. It's every kid's dream to play in the Champions League. But as a young player, you're going to want to play in the Premier League as well. So it's a bit of a hard one then. And I think for him, he'll just be happy that he's actually playing games, causing problems, scoring goals, and representing his country. And I think the next step will be after that is to solidify that space in the Premier League side.
I think that's what he's wanting to do. I think for Phil, I think he trusts Pep. He's nurtured him really well, and like Shaun said, he's playing international football now, and he just seems like he's got this aura about him now. It's an incredible story for someone so local to get into the squad first and foremost, but then to cement it and going on to international honours and now coming on and scoring goals. It's going to come. It's just when. And Pep's come out clearly. He thinks the world of Phil, so he's going to be a massive player for City going forward.
I guess as well, Shaun, having kind of gone through it, then for the players that are younger than Phil, finally they have got that direct journey that can happen if everything kind of falls into place at the right time. There is that pathway now into City's starting 11, as difficult as that may be.
It's going to be difficult behind Phil, isn't it? He's only like 19, 20. They're going to have to wait another 15 years, isn't they? No, but yeah, obviously it gives the kids something to drive for. And I think when I was coming through, like those doors and paths were there in many clubs in a lot of ways, whereas obviously now in football it's completely different. But to see a club like Man City doing it with the type of players that they have here gives the kids something to strive for.
Thanks, Shaun. Let's take a look then at our 5-0 win against Burnley. Lots of goals, of course. Foden, who we were just speaking about there, did get an assist. It was a little bit later on. Let's look at this first one, though, of course, from our hat-trick hero, Riyad Mahrez.
Kevin De Bruyne has the ball, and now Riyad Mahrez has the ball, and now City have the net. And now Mahrez is in a brilliant position inside the penalty area. Mahrez, 2-0. De Bruyne, who clips it in towards Mendy on the far, and Mendy's put it into the net. His first goal as a Manchester City player. And Walker towards Jesus, and Jesus to Torres, and 4 for City. Bruyne, he's played a lovely ball, when does he not? Into the path of Foden. Foden's clip ball is delightful, 5-0. Riyad Mahrez hat-trick. Foden with a cross, Mahrez with a header. Beautifully done by City.
Full highlights there from our 5-0 win against Burnley at the Etihad Stadium. Only one man we can start with, Riyad Mahrez, hat-trick hero. Shaun, what was you most impressed about in Riyad's game against Burnley at the weekend?
Lights just went out. I've got mood lighting.
That's what happens when you speak about the hat-trick hero that is Riyad Mahrez.
I think the thing that impressed me most, because I've been watching him over the games, is he actually played a lot quicker. Normally he slows it down, then he'll come back out, whereas I felt like when he had his chances to go one-on-one, he took them and a lot came from them.
Also, he was one of those players as well. I don't know if you remember. I think he was on the bench. I think for the last game. For the game before, was actually out of the squad. So I guess actually maybe speaking what we were speaking about before, it kind of put him in the best possible position, or stood him in good stead to come back and go, I need to really play at my best, like I have been doing in the past. Do you think?
Yeah, well, his reactions were perfect. He's come back, he scored 3 goals, and he starts again today, hoping to do more. But I think, like everyone said, like Dunne and Kevin, is at the bottom of the line is if you take your foot off the gas, there's players here that are going to take your spot. So you either stay at that elite level and keep scoring and creating chances and being a thorn in defenders' sides, or you sit down and wait your turn again.
Do you know when the last time Riyad Mahrez scored a hat-trick was? It was 5 seasons ago against Swansea when he was playing for Leicester. The same year, they went and won the league. I'm just saying. Just saying.
He told you that. Did your dad tell you that stat?
Yeah,
I know
he
you're young.
was waiting to drop that one in there. Let's move on to our midfielder maestro. That is, of course, Kevin De Bruyne. When he doesn't seem to have a bad game, Kevin, but he seemed to be doing everything in that game at the weekend. And you were here at the Etihad, seeing it live.
For me, it's plain and simple. Is the best midfielder in the world. He's got everything. His football intelligence, where to be, when to be there, picking up pockets between lines. His balance, he can go either way, left foot, right foot. Look, dead balls. Where do you stop with this lad? He free kicks, corners. He assists. He scores. He's the best. He would go in any team in the world and make them better. And a positive. The real plus about it is his mum and dad were Manchester City fans and named him after me. Obviously, I'm lying about that, but he's incredible. He's incredible. He's a dream to watch, and must be even a bigger dream to play with.
I mean, since Pep Guardiola's come in, and we've obviously signed him from Wolfsburg, it feels like his all-round game has improved. Of course, we all, even at Chelsea and Wolfsburg, saw that he had a great shot, saw that he could pick out a pass. But now you're seeing the work rate, the tackling. He's almost become that complete midfielder.
He's got everything. If scientists made a complete midfielder in a laboratory somewhere, you'd make Kevin De Bruyne. He's obviously got mental strength. You just touched on it. It didn't work out for him at Chelsea, and he's come back with a big fee, and there was raised eyebrows. He's answered all them questions. His work rate, again, out of possession, the willingness to win the ball back. People don't talk about that with flair players, but he's just got the lot.
And also his passing. I mean, Kevin, I've watched you definitely pick out some beautiful balls, but his passing is just it's a joke.
The one at the weekend, the pass weren't there. But obviously the lads that play with him, Mendy has carried on his run because he knows anything's possible, even if he's not looking at you. It's possible. He's incredible.
A club captain as well now, Richard. I mean, he feels like he could, and also I think he's in talks hopefully to extend his contract, but could really, if he carries on, actually cement himself as, or if he's not already, one of the greatest players we've had at Manchester City.
I think he is already. I think when you look at the players that the club have brought in over the last 10 years, there's none real better than him. He's top class, and it's almost the whole system works because of him, because of the positions that he finds himself in, because of the fear he strikes into opposing teams. They all want to sit back and try and close him down, which creates spaces for other players. But he's, like Kevin said, he came out probably on the back of he didn't do well in the Premier League first time around, and he come back with something to prove. So that shows the mentality and the strength, and he's taken that, and he's also taken now the leadership qualities in terms of. You see all the games when they don't win or they draw or whatever. He's the most angry looking. He's really annoyed, and he wants to drive the team forward. And I think that's it's a great trait for any captain. And if he can add the skill that he's got to that, well, then he's perfect for it.
Definitely feels like the successor to Fernandinho. And actually, when we've been able to, fortunately enough to see some of the games live, he is one of the loudest voices on the pitch, which I think says a lot. I don't know if it's too early to ask this question, but Yaya Toure or Kevin De Bruyne? Shaun?
For me, it's too early. I think
it's too early.
Yeah, for me. He's great, but Yaya, like him, had pretty much everything he's got, but with the pace as well. I think if he does it for that amount of time, then it's going to be a good argument.
Okay, well, so a couple more seasons, then we'll bring back the Kevin Yaya debate.
Will we still be doing this show then?
Well, I've just put it out there now. If the bosses are watching, and if you want to tweet the club as well, at Man City, just let them know how much of the show, that would be great. Also, one man, and it's been actually really nice that I think we're able to talk about him, because he has had it a little bit difficult. John Stones. Rich, I'm going to come to you. Obviously, he started those 2 games in a row, which we hadn't seen for a while. Feels a bit like a different player to what we've seen over the last few years.
Yeah, I think he's matured. I think it's taken some time out of the spotlight as well has helped him. And like any centre-half, if you can play with someone who's a leader like that Diaz is, it'll help him so much. And I think in previous times they've chopped and changed an awful lot, and he's been with Otamendi, and when he's been with company, he's fine. But he just needs that leader beside him, and take away the responsibility from him of having to be a passer, having to be someone who creates stuff. Just let him defend, and he can do that no problem. And we've seen on Saturday, the ball was getting lumped up to the Burnley centre forwards time after time, and he was winning headers, and then they're big guys, so he was doing the defensive side really well. And then we know when he gets the ball, if he just plays it simple and keeps it moving, his confidence will grow. And I thought he performed brilliant on Saturday.
Yeah, I think he won all 5 out of his aerial duels as well against, like you say, those big Burnley lads. He has been rested, of course. He's on the bench for our game against Porto. Do you think then that is maybe a little nod to say, and this is, I think, for all of us, do you think that maybe he's pushing to be Diaz's starting partner? Possibly. Do you think, Richard?
He's got the capability, certainly, and I think if the manager's unsure and Stones is putting in performances like he did at the weekend, certainly he should be in with a shout. And over the course of the season, you would look at it and think the perfect balance lends itself to Diaz and Laporte. If for whatever reason Laporte isn't available, why not John Stones? I think he's got a lot to prove, and he looks like he's getting more mature, more understanding of the position. And for me, I think he's quality, and his best years are still to come.
I don't want to make this link, but it was only because Pep spoke about him saying that he's been working really hard to not make mistakes, which I think as a team we've also spoke about, particularly in the Champions League. It does seem to undo us a little bit at times, Kevin. How do you, stopping these mistakes, is that purely a mental and concentration thing for you, or is it something else?
Yeah, I think it is just concentration, little lapses in concentration, and it only takes that 1 second of lapse of concentration and you get punished. So it's something that obviously we need to improve on. Look, we're always going to create problems and score goals, so if we can get rid of them, then it'll see us winning more games going forward.
And of course, we touched upon it just at the start. Aguero's not travelled, but Shaun, for you, do you think we've got enough in our forward players? Mahrez, of course, did get the hat-trick, to be getting those goals that we do need, that maybe Aguero will be scoring if he was fit?
Yeah, most definitely. I think you saw that on Saturday against Burnley. I think as long as the players take some of the chances they create, because like Kev said, we're never going to go games without creating over 10 chances. I think if we put some of them away, we don't have no worries.
Thank you, Shaun. Well, we want to quickly tell you about City Plus, of course. Some of you might be watching it on City Plus. If you're not, it is well worth checking out. This is our subscription service, so it's $1.99 a month. There is a whole host of brilliant content for you to get your eyes and ears around. There's some brilliant documentaries. One of my favourite is on Kevin De Bruyne, Made in Belgium, which is well worth a watch. It charts his whole career from a kid. But it is also important, as we know, not just to be looking at our current squad, but be looking back at where we came from. And there's a certain special documentary that's arriving on City Plus, Shaun. I hope you know about this, or if not, you need to get your agent on the phone, because there's one that's been made around kind of your career and growing up. Can you give us any tease on that? You do know about it, I hope.
I know about it.
Okay.
I don't know when it's coming out, but I just think everyone should pay the $1.99 and watch it.
You heard it from the man himself on the VT. Tell you what, Shaun. Start him young, eh?
Yeah, He's not changed at all, is it?
Well, I mean, look at you. Don't know what that keeper's doing there. If he was like, is that a young Edison you came up against there?
Where was the net?
Where are you playing there?
A place called The Creme in South London.
Right, okay. So was that one of your first football clubs then?
That was my primary school.
That was your primary school?
Yeah.
No, I feel sorry for the kids. No way. Okay, and then from there, then you were playing for a local club, and
Then when I got to like 13, we had to get some parents together to help us get a Sunday League club, because there wasn't none in our area.
No way, right, okay.
It just reminds us, me back in the day training with Shaun. I'm trying to kick him, and you just can't get near him. It's so elusive, and if you do catch him, he's bounced up and running again before you can even get up yourself. So, yeah, I feel sorry for them school kids there.
I guess those, well, I mean, because also for when you've got players, though, that can do that and create space for them, for you to go and find them, it must be an absolute joy.
Right, it was unbelievable. He came into the club as a young lad, and he had a massive impact, always played with a big smile on his face, and like I say, he was just so hard for players like me to kick him in training. I just couldn't get near him.
I love it, right? Because when everyone does speak about Shaun, they say the same thing. We couldn't get near him, so we just had to kick him.
Well, that was the only way I could stop most people, if I'm honest, because I didn't have any pace. But yeah, the way I can only describe him is he's like a bouncy ball. Like he just bounces up and he's off and running again. It's so frustrating.
Is that because, do you know what? Is the low centre of gravity? Is it agility? Is it balance? What is it? Because I think, Sterling's got it a little bit. I see Foden that he doesn't seem to be knocked down by players. Bernardo is another one. Is it what is it?
Something you worked on to be bouncy, right? Or not?
I don't actually have it. I've just seen it more as like a desire to still get the ball, basically. So even if he kicked me, I didn't really care what he was doing. I just wanted to know where the ball went.
I never kicked you on purpose in trial. I'm only having a little bit of a joke.
Some nice lessons there. Not Kevin, Shaun's lessons there for any young footballers watching. Now, we've been playing out some brilliant stuff on We're Not Really Here throughout the Champions League campaign, focusing on different European cuisines. This show is no different. Myself with Richard and a few other friends, we had a little go. I say we, I was more watching and enjoying the food. Here's how we got on with some Portuguese cuisine.
It's time for another one of our European cuisine challenges. This is Portuguese inspired. Peri peri actually originated in Africa.
So we're going to ask you some questions and then we're going to pause and you are going to try the vegan chicken and you have to guess what flavour it is.
Can you name the 3 goal scorers from the home leg of the game against Porto?
So we've got Torres, Sterling, Gundogan and Sterling, Foden, Mahrez. 0 points for both of you, yes. Which team did Ruben Diaz play for before signing for City this season?
Oh, this is an easy one. They went straight to the boards, they knew it. It is indeed Benfica. You both get a point for that one.
Right, now is the time we've all been waiting for. You get to eat your vegan chicken from Garden Gourmet. Kyle and I are so jealous right now.
I'm just looking, this looks very good.
I might need to eat the whole dish. Yeah. I'm hopeless at flavours. I have no idea. It's really nice, but...
You don't usually chew though, do you?
No, just swallow it.
So chili and lime. Oh, interesting. Okay, so the answer is lemon and herb. So close. You're in the citrus vicinity.
And what shirt number does João Cancelo wear?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Well done. You both got a point for that one.
What year was Bernardo Silva born?
A lot of thought going into this from Paul.
I'm trying to head up here.
Yeah. I feel like if Bernardo watches this, he's going to be really offended by Richard.
Yeah. 1994.
1994. Well, the answer is 1994. So you both get a point. We'll give you that. But Richard, do you want to tell everyone what you wrote the first time round? Yeah.
But now you get to try the second flavour now of our vegan chicken.
This is a hard one. Again, it's very tasty though.
Paul's gone for chili garlic.
Chicken.
Nice. So the flavour is smoky garlic.
Oh.
So I think we'll give you a point,
That's
Paul.
got to be a point. That's got to be a point.
Yes.
I just couldn't spell smoky.
It's got CHILLI, yeah.
So Paul's gone in the lead there with the garlic. Name a player who won the Premier Liga with Porto and the Premier League with Man City. Okay.
Ready to turn? Oh. Mangala or Nicholas Otamendi were the right answers, so you get a point.
There's a lot of colour in this one, I can see.
Richard, you look like you've not got the specific flavour.
The first one had chili in it and it's done me in. I can't taste that.
We've not cleansed his palate. We've not cleansed his palate. Are you ready? Let's turn them over.
Chili paprika sounds like a nice combination. spicy barbecue?
It's not.
I don't know why I said that like that was an unusual flavour. So the answer actually is extra hot peri-peri.
It's a bit obvious, isn't it?
And congratulations, Mr. Paul Dickoff, who is our vegan chicken champion.
Well done, Paul. That you still going to tell us, Richard, what you wrote down for Bernardo on that original date for Bernardo, or was it what you said?
Seriously, I couldn't think, and I even forgot what year it was now. So I put down 1984 for him. Well, I came to my senses eventually.
Done well, done very, very well. Really, that was nice vegan chicken there.
Really good, really good. But like I said there, the spicy one first. That was it. I couldn't taste the other flavours, but it was still nice.
No, no spice for me. Sean, are you a spice fan? You like
Yeah, I
spice?
don't mind my spice.
Can you go quite hot?
I still want to taste the food. I don't want it to like burn where I can't even enjoy the flavour.
I remember watching a clip of it. Was it Mika? So I was crying.
Oh, with the hot wings. That is genius. What about you for spice, Kevin?
Yeah, I'll give it a go. It's weird. I've got to be in a zone for it. And then I'll go spicy and then regret it.
Okay, all right, nice. This is a football show. We're just, we take a little chill. We talk about spicy. I know. We'll get some vegan cuisine coming in here. But if you've just tuned in, thanks for joining us on We're Not Really Here. We are coming up against Porto this evening in the Champions League. We've got 14 minutes until kickoff. If you don't know the team, I can bring you the team now. Ederson starts in net. We have Zinchenko and Cancelo as our fullbacks. Diaz partners Eric Garcia at the back. In the middle, it is Rodri, Fernandinho, and Bernardo Silva, and a front three of Foden, Torres, and Sterling. Gentlemen, you guys, between you, as I said at the start of the show, 800 caps between you. Fond memories, Richard, I guess, that evokes so many memories of playing with these guys and in that City team.
Yeah, we had a great dressing room, I think, back then. Me and Kev used to share a room on occasion.
That was a bit of fun, let me tell you. That was a bit of fun.
But yeah, it was brilliant, and you knew with that squad and with the group of people that was there, you knew what you were going to get at the weekend. Everyone was going to try their best. We obviously didn't have the resources that the club has now, but I think as a group we stabilised the club, put it back into the Premier League, and helped turn it hopefully into what it has become today. I
think it absolutely has, and actually kind of going off what you were saying, the season I think which best summarises it and what we were building up to was that I think it was 2000-2001 season and trickling into that 2002 where I think we were breaking records for fun. I've got them here on my laptop. We set it was 2001-2002. It was a new club for high total league points, so it was 99 in a single season. Highest number of seasonal wins, 31. We equalled the club's prior record for number of home wins, 19. It was just the gift that kept on giving. Kevin, any particular favourite memories for you from that season, or just your time as a whole?
Just all of it. It's funny, like the obviously older you get, in the moment you take it a little bit for granted, but it's fantastic times, best times of my life, and obviously these two were fantastic players that I'm proud to say that I got to play with.
Sean, for you as well, I mean, that you've seen as well with kind of some individual accolades, but for you, it was such a formative time as well for your career, I guess.
Like Kevin Dunne said, especially for me when I was younger coming through, that these type of players were very important to me. I didn't feel any nerves. I wasn't like worried about anything. They just made me feel right at home as soon as I crossed over, and I think the fans did that as well. And like you said, we had an amazing dressing room, so we all knew no matter how much fun we did, we always gave 110%, and I think that set the stall for us.
When you talk about that, where's that set from? Is it set from, do you think, is it set from your captains? Is it set from the management team, or is it accumulation?
I think it's a mixture of both, but I just think it's the characters you have in there. They were all just good lads, and we wanted to work hard, and we had a good blend of young lads and older lads, and it just worked that season and fell into place, and we blitzed everybody. And just a quick one on rooming with Dunny. I know, look, I might be letting the cat out of the bag a little bit, but obviously a big brave centre half. He had a teddy and a blankie.
What was the teddy's name? Can you remember?
I can't remember what he called it. He had a name. He changed it to Moonchester once.
Of course. There we go. We always thought it, Richard, and there we go.
I'm not afraid of it. It's still there with me now.
Question then for you all, actually, of course, it was the season that broke all the records, but out of Kevin Horlock and Shaun Wright-Phillips, who scored the most goals, do you think? Richard, who do you think it was?
To be fair, I can't really remember, but I've just seen a couple.
That particular season.
I've scored a couple on there, but I'll say right. It must
you
be
scored
right.
more than me, Kev, that year.
In the 01-02 season. In all
The only way I
competitions.
would have scored more than Righty was if we got loads of penalties, and I took them. Well, it'd have to be a lot because I'd have missed a couple. So I would probably say Righty.
Richard, who are you thinking?
I would have said definitely Righty, but I've seen the goals there that he scored, so I think it's close, but I'd still go Righty.
Okay, Bright was saying it's close, so close. 8 each. Was it? Yeah, you had the same tally. You had the same tally. Look at that. Nice.
That's my claim to fame. I'm telling everyone that. It's got the same amount of goals as Righty. I'll have that.
Also, Gaz, you were part of the team that was the last team to win at Anfield, which is back in 2005. And then we haven't, 2003, sorry, and we haven't won since then. And I think before that, we hadn't won since 1981. As players, are you aware that that's, for you when you were going into that game in 2003, that, wow, this is a place we haven't won since 81? Are you aware of that?
To be honest, that's the first I've heard of it.
Do you know what? I wasn't aware of it, but I'm aware of it now because when that fixture comes around, I have people wanting interviews and to speak to me. I don't remember much about the game. Anelka scored late on, I think.
Yeah.
My best bits of that game personally were just getting involved in the goal celebrations. I don't remember much more.
I think Peter Schmeichel made 2 or 3 unbelievable saves in the game. And that's what I remember, because usually you go to Anfield, you have to soak up some pressure, and it was him, I think, that made a difference.
I think because we had a goal, we were able to watch the game. I mean, when even that Anfield there, I mean, is the atmosphere. I mean, I've been lucky enough to been and felt it even as a fan, but then when you're on the pitch, it must be a different experience altogether. Is it as like, that cauldron that people talk about?
It is, and I've played there in games where we've been beaten and stuff like that, and it's a difficult place because the fans really get up for it. So it's nice to go to a stadium like that and win and keep them quiet and hear them having a little go at their own fans and stuff like that. And it's it's such a surprise that it's been so long that City haven't won since.
It kind of feels like it's become. It's like a little bit of a block now for us.
Yeah, it becomes that way, doesn't it? Because obviously everybody overanalyse it. Look, it'll be done again soon.
Oh, we like to see what you did there as well. Done. Moving on.
No,
okay, well, this game, let's quickly go through the game at Anfield. It actually began with a disallowed goal from you, Shaun, which we can take a look at here. I mean, it was... don't know. I'm not too sure. I mean, nice.
VAR would have rolled that a goal.
It would have. It was because I don't think it was offside.
I needed a haircut though, didn't I? Gee.
To be fair, great finish.
I'm off.
Really?
Yeah, I'm off.
Not the left back.
Okay,
okay. All right. Lovely finish though.
Yeah, great finish.
So that was disallowed. Then I think we can go to. I think then did Liverpool, or I think Liverpool might have scored first. Possibly.
It's probably my fault.
Is it Gerrard plays it out there, I think, and then who wasn't tight enough there, Kev?
I'm not sure. I'm still getting back from us attacking. Look, there's me trying to get back.
Oh, it's unlucky though. It wasn't you.
No,
Richard,
it wasn't me. It wasn't me.
Still fuming now.
Surprised.
Look at all of us passing the buck. Yeah, I weren't involved in that at all.
But I mean, talking of Anfield, to go 1-0 down, then the belief then and the confidence go, all right, we had to keep our head. Must have, I don't know what
that's it. And within that group of people, we had a sort of a bond that we knew we could trust each other, and we also had the ability. We had people like Ali Benarbia, Shaun, who could make a difference, and certainly and Nicholas Anelka. He's one of the top strikers in European football.
Yeah, he was. And speaking of Anelka, let's see his equaliser, and then he did also as well go on and get the winner. Tell you what, that's a bit reminiscent of City there, though, with the winning the ball from the press. Penalty for you, Richard, there, do you think?
Definite penalty. Should have been a red card as well, probably. But
I can't believe I've let him take the penalty.
I was just about to ask you, Kev, where are you?
I don't know. I must have bottled it because I have scored a penalty at Anfield. I must have bottled it that day. I must have been having a real bad day.
In the celebration, though.
Always in the celebration. Always. You've got to get on match of the day.
Is that the trick? Quiet game, getting the celebration.
I was involved in every celebration, and goals against, you always see me sliding in too late. I don't know. Is that a positive or negative? I don't know.
Who knows? And then let's have a look then. I think it was Anelka, of course, then it was a brace, and he got the winner. 1-2. See if we can find you in this celebration here in a second, Kev.
I'll definitely be there, 100%.
Him been a big Benarbia as well, didn't he? I mean, I think he had a really great game this game.
What a player he was.
Oh, it's the football!
Yeah, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there. Hang on, I will definitely be there. I'll be surprised if I'm not.
There's Pete Schmeichel.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'll be there. No, I'm slower than that. There I am. There I am. And the worst thing, I was probably the closest to Nicholas when he scored, but still last to the celebrations.
We won't. I mean, we will have to get that back out again. But that goal is that is beautiful one-touch football. It's a little bit like City against Burnley. That, Sean. It was rather lovely. So teams are in the tunnel, which does mean it's prediction time. And there's only one place to start because sat next to Manu on his first show. Got the prediction spot on, didn't you, Kev?
Yeah, I'm under pressure now, aren't I? I think it's going to be a City win. And I'm going to go a step further and give you the goal scorers as well. So I'm going to say 2-0.
Yep.
Sterling and Anfield.
Okay, all right. Okay.
You heard it, yeah?
Okay, Richard, what are you thinking for your prediction?
I'm going to go 3-0.
3-0, strong. All right, one up there from Kev. I like that. Sean?
I'm saying 3-1.
3-1, okay.
Yeah.
Love that. I'm very happy. We're all in the same ballpark there. I think I could see... I'll go 3-1, Sean. I was going to say 2-0, but I could see I'll go 3-1 with Sean. Come join us at half-time when we're not really here. We'll be getting into the first half action, and then we will be back at full-time, hopefully talking about a Manchester City win. Thank you for tuning in. Massive thank you to Sean, to Kevin, and to Richard. We will be back at half-time. Enjoy the game. Come on, City.
He always said that in primary school, that he wanted to be the best footballer of the world.
I was a shy, really shy person, so it was really difficult for me to make a lot of social contacts.
He's one of the best players I ever trained in my life.
You've got such a group of players that can achieve anything they want. Don't ever let it slip, because before you know it, you'll be doing a speech like me crying. And it's the end of it. Trust me, it goes that fast. Thank you very much.
Well, congratulations to everybody. I know it's not easy to come here because always you have the mind what is going to happen, what's going to happen. If we lose, if we lose, if we lose. But we lose, we lose.
David Silva es uno de los jugadores más talentosos que ha dado el fútbol español, sin ninguna duda.
Johnny Boy, show me your hand.
Well, we haven't seen Premier League football for 10 weeks, but Project Restart will finally be up and running.
They use like a kind of small stick, and they use it in your mouth and in your nose.
Sterling scores Manchester City's first goal since the restart of Premier League football.
Well, some are saying it seems longer than 20 years. Some saying it seems like yesterday, but fantastic memories from it, even now 20 years on. And to have all the boys here today is fantastic.
City win the title! It's Aguero for his 30th goal of the season! I don't believe what I'm seeing! Manchester City are the champions!